the world of online politics has never been more shameless. The way that people are afraid and reluctant to correct a mistake that they made because they think that it makes them look shaky on the facts and the data, and they believe it to hit their credibility, or, you know, more so the credibility of whichever side or cause that they're representing, makes it so that we have people doubling and tripling down on the worst positions and mistakes that you really can't look at and see anything other than shamelessness. Tying this into the dead horse that I will be beating again on camera, we got Hasan Piker, who was recently banned on Twitch for, get this, one business day for saying, and I quote, "If you really cared about Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott."
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
That fraud is not coming from individuals, it's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients, okay? It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott.
Now, I might get flack for this, but I don't care, nor do I think it matters what his intention was, because the outcome of this rhetoric is the same. Like, people use this a lot of the time to avoid accountability when they do a rug pull in crypto. You've had influencers in the past, like Logan Paul, talking about a coin saying, yeah, it's the stupidest shit I've ever seen, that's why I'm buying it. So even though he's ironically promoting it and the way in which he's marketing this token is joking, doesn't matter if he's joking or serious about you buying it, the result's the same, the price goes up, leading to a bigger pool of money that he can steal from. In this case, it's normalizing dehumanizing rhetoric about murdering people and furthering radicalization among your audience. And we know that it's normalized among his community because this isn't the first time he said or done something like this. He's tweeted out like makeshift guns to symbolize that you should build this to hurt the person that he's quote tweeted. So Hasan got this slap on the wrist punishment for his comments on stream, and then made an entire video saying, "I got canceled," where he responds to the recent controversy and how Asmongold, who is now the largest political streamer overall, talked about his situation. Now, there's a lot wrong with this video, but I think some of the main issues with it include the fact that he criticized Asmongold for linking a video of H3H3 to his chat. Hasan argues that he was trying to support Ethan by linking his video to his chat, but this was just a video that Asmongold watched on stream, and it's his practice to link the video that he finished watching to his chat in every occasion.
As I said, I do try to maintain a degree of neutrality with a lot of this stuff. And I try not to go too like super hard on it. I'll link you guys the video real quick before I get into it. And
he's linking the Ethan Klein video to his audience because, you know, to show support.
Yeah, there's the video. It's the Ethan video.
Perhaps this is the reason why Ethan Klein doesn't talk about Asmongold and his apologia for certain regimes. You know, Ethan, who really cares about anti-Semitism, of course. That's why he constantly comes after me, someone he knows has a long track record, alongside him at times, attacking anti-Semites and explaining to people what famous dog whistles are and things of that nature. But that'll be for a different day.
Hasan frames this disingenuously as him signal boosting Ethan's message, and hilariously twists Asmongold's routine practice of crediting the creators of the videos he's reacted to as some sort of political message against him. And this is really what I'm trying to get at when I say that it's shameless. I don't believe Hasan is misinterpreting certain events. I do believe he's deliberately twisting the narrative in order to make it so that he doesn't have to take accountability and can instead triple and double down on certain things, which to most people outside of his fan base comes across as unreasonable and pesky, but to those who have watched him for a while, it just seems like he has strength in his convictions, that he's willing to dig his heels in the sand or whatever. And the problem with this isn't that it reflects poorly on Hasan's character. I think there are plenty of other things that reflect poorly on Hasan's character that don't have larger implications, but because he is a political streamer and an outlet for information, and information is the currency of democracy. If you have information, you're more informed as to what's happening within the world, and therefore you can make decisions based on this information, and it is a currency. And if you are the person who is making people believe a certain thing about the world, that has implication. And this seems like a no shit Sherlock kind of point, but with legacy media and traditional news outlets, there's more pressure on them to actually uphold the truth and conform to journalistic standards. And so their incentive is to do the opposite of doubling and tripling down. They need to reverse course quickly, make a correction, and move on like nothing ever happened. Whereas the shameless Hasan strategy is to essentially gaslight his audience into believing that he's always been right and is always going to be right. And in the rare cases where he will walk something back and issue a correction, it is always with certain contingencies. It's like, okay, I'll admit that I was wrong here, but you guys have to understand blah 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 in order to absolve himself from anything that would tank his credibility.
Obviously, I shouldn't have used hyperbolic language, and there's definitely some ownership that I must take. Some apologies there. I should not have said Mike Johnson should kill Rick Scott. I should have simply said Mike Johnson should punish Rick Scott, perhaps with the, maximum punishment, whatever that would be, for defrauding Medicare. What I was simply trying to say is Republicans don't care about the actual fraud that takes place in terms of government entitlements programs, in terms of government expenditure, because if they did, they obviously would punish Rick Scott.
This guy also makes excuses like it's a full-time job. Every time he gets caught, it's always someone else's fault. Oh, it's out of context. Oh, Asmongold's being bad faith. Oh, it's a right-wing attack on me. Dude, you said it. We didn't deepfake your voice like it's a Call of Duty lobby.
I hope that the rest of your life is as horrible as it is every single day, okay? I despise you. I despise you more than anything else on the planet. You are fucking cancer.
Own up to it like a grown man instead of scrambling to deflect blame onto everyone within a 50-mile radius.
Rick Scott would not be a prominent fixture of the Republican Party. Rick Scott, who was elected as the governor of Florida after he committed the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history at the time.
$73 million. That's the amount that we know about so far that Scott and the Republican Party spent on TV advertising.
Rick Scott, who then went on to become the Florida senator.
On Sunday, a manual recount confirmed Republican Governor Rick Scott's victory over the incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson.
Once again, after doing insane amounts of Medicare fraud.
Elon Musk posted on X his support for Florida Senator Rick Scott for Senate Majority Leader.
This was simply the point. But of course, Republicans want to avoid this point.
And some of the excuses, like, they're not even good. Like, the I'm just joking defense is literally a second grader level defense. It's like, hey, Hasan, did you say that this guy smells like poop? I did, but I was just kidding. Like, it literally does not get more juvenile than that. It's classic Hasan. You say something insane, let it marinate, and then when people call him out, they just, he pretends it was either sarcasm or hyperbole. You're not Dave Chappelle. And even if you were, jokes don't protect you from inciting violence. You have a political audience, a community of people that look to you for information and takes, and you form the opinions of the thousands of people, tens of thousands that watch your show. But hey, I guess it doesn't matter because Twitch mods treat you like, you're their long lost son. You're like a Dan Clancy Jr. or whatever the fuck. I mean, he must have blood ties, right? Like, nobody else gets this amount of pardon. I also love that when people eventually do call him out for the things that he says, like the I'm just joking defense, this is what he goes to, but the ego on this guy is crazy. He's always trying to frame himself as the underdog, fighting against the evil forces of not only the right-wing online community and Asmongold, but the evil forces of capitalism themselves, while owning this $250,000 car, multi-million-dollar house. But, all things considered, please turn a blind eye. He's still the underdog. And it's so ironic because while he acts out this underdog role, he displays levels of selective outrage that you wouldn't believe. Like, he loves to act like he's the ultimate arbiter of justice, yet he constantly contradicts himself. He'll preach about extremism being a problem on Twitch with like Asmongold and stuff like this. And even in his I Got Cancelled video, when he talked about the differences that he has with Asmongold ideologically, he said Asmongold and him disagree about the history of Nazi Germany, which is supposed to imply that Asmongold has some like Naziistic beliefs or something like that, which isn't true, but it's like you are one of the most extreme voices on the platform. You are the most extreme voice on the platform. He'll say you can't call for violence, but then call for violence. He's speedrunning hypocrisy every time he opens his mouth. Like, he'll soy face at somebody saying something outrageous when watching street interviews or something like that, yet when he says something very similar and he just uses different verbiage and different context, then it's like all of a sudden okay because it's coming out of his mouth. It's not. It's the same shit.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel.
At least Patrick Henry College is like doing one good thing, which is that like if you have these fucking millionaire, billionaire WASP fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date to other billionaire, millionaire failed daughters is like, in some respects, from a utilitarian perspective, of course, a little bit better.
If you're in a socialist country with multiple parties, and one of the parties is a capitalist party, which would surely exist.
Yeah.
What would you do if that party started gaining momentum?
The solution to that would always be education and offering more...
Re-education?
Re-education, certainly, yeah. There should be an enforcement mechanism, and in that enforcement mechanism, I think like rehabilitation, which would include re-education as well.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
But whenever he gets called out, it's somebody else's fault. Ethan Klein's attacking me, Asmongold's attacking me, Libs of TikTok is trying to get me banned, Twitch is unfair, which is just like so ironic. Are you serious? Like Twitch lets you get away with more than anyone else on the platform, and you still think you're being oppressed. The delusion is off the charts. Hasan has never taken responsibility for anything in his entire streaming career. It is always someone else's fault, always some evil conspiracy against him. Dude would be caught on camera setting fire to Twitch's admin's house, and his fans would be like, well, yeah, I think Trump did this.
Hey, Dan Clancy. Time to wish Hasan another happy birthday song, you hack fuck. Anyone else will get permabanned on Twitch for this. This is beyond the pale. This is enticing your audience to kill a sitting senator. Don't people go to jail for this? This is not me enticing my audience to kill a sitting U.S. senator. That is ridiculous. Everybody knows that that is ridiculous. The people that are complaining about this know that that is ridiculous. But I'm glad that I was able to show you the context, the full context of what I was talking about.
At this point, we gotta ask, why does Hasan get away with all this? Why does Twitch protect him like he has admin privileges on the site? And the simple answer is he's their guy. Twitch is run by people who agree with him ideologically, so they pretend their rules apply to everyone equally when in reality, there is one rulebook for Hasan and one for everyone else. You could have a streamer with 10,000 followers get banned for saying something 100 times tamer than what Hasan says daily. Twitch will not hesitate to delete smaller creators for way less, but Hasan is invincible because at the end of the day, Twitch isn't actually about a fair enforcement of rules. It's about controlling who gets to speak freely and making sure their favorite voices never face consequences. And at this point, people are going to begin to impose this false dichotomy and say that, well, Asmongold is getting more viewers than Hasan while voicing an opposite, a political opinion than his, so how is it possible that Twitch has a bias? Asmongold does not egregiously violate the terms of service and therefore he doesn't get banned, so the whole like voicing the opposite opinion is not true. Like if Asmongold was saying the same things that Hasan says about the right wing and about the left wing, then obviously he would get banned. And also Asmongold is not even right wing. This is gonna be a hard pill for some people to swallow, but if you took an aggregate of his positions on every issue, you would realize that he falls almost directly in the center. Asmongold is pro-choice, he's critical of the military-industrial complex, he thinks healthcare should be more accessible, and criticizes the way that the system exists. But because he doesn't like woke shit and thinks immigration is a problem, people just summarize him as being right-wing.
Do you have anything you disagree with Trump on besides Ukraine? Yeah, I disagree with Trump about, I think number one would be abortion. I think abortion should be federally, like it should be like federally guaranteed. Healthcare, oh yeah. I also am a single payer healthcare supporter, right? January 6 pardons. Yeah, I think he overstepped with that. I think he pardoned people that he probably shouldn't have. I think some of them should have been pardoned, but anybody who was violent towards a police officer should not have been pardoned.
And I understand that. I'm not clueless. Like, I can see why someone who looks at his channel and the way that he presents himself, that they would assume he's MAGA. I honestly think he does that on purpose. Like, you know, when he says, like, Trump is a genius, one of his videos is called Trump is a Genius. He's clearly pandering to a right-wing audience. But I still don't believe that politically puts him on the right. I believe he's also said that he's pro-gay marriage, and I think he said something about being able to do whatever you want with like transgender stuff once you're over the age of 18, so.
I think Asmongold is covering this because he wants Twitch to see it. He's done this a couple times in the past couple of weeks, I understand. We are ideologically butting heads on Twitch. Asmongold and I disagree vehemently on a lot of issues, all the way from the history of Nazi Germany down to the fact that immigrants are not actually contributing to the American crime rates in the way that the Republican administration presents it. They're not destroying our culture in the way that Asmongold approaches the subject matter. There's plenty of disagreements there, and I think that he's doing this deliberately, I will say, in an effort to, you know, shit stir a little bit and try to get me banned, which worked.
It seems like the Republican base, and there's a big group of people that are major Trump acolytes and Trump dick suckers that will believe and repeat literally anything he says and never question anything that he says. And eventually what that's going to lead to is it's going to lead to him doubling down on something or doing something that is indefensible, that is ridiculous, and it's going to make that entire group of people look really, really bad. You need to stop trying to run defense for things that are indefensible. There's no reason to do that. You don't have to do that. You're not helping anybody by doing that. And you're actually hurting yourself in the long run because you're not holding yourself accountable. That's the same reason why I think Democrats lose a lot, is that they have these crazy bad actors that are trying to push radical gender ideology. And these people are not being reined in by the general group because they're too afraid of being pushed away.
Now take that how you want, but getting back to Hasan, I think people are going to see the fact that he was banned for one day because of the Rick Scott comment and somehow, like, you know, use that to disprove the narrative that he's protected by Twitch when really it does the opposite. This is textbook damage control from Twitch. People are going to point at Hasan's one-day ban and say, see, Twitch isn't biased. They enforce rules on him too. But this literally just proves the opposite. It just shows how untouchable he really is. If any other streamer, literally anyone who isn't in Twitch's VIP club, said if you don't care about Medicaid or whatever, if you care about Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. That's not a one-day slap on the wrist. That is a permaban, nuked account, wiped off the platform type of situation. Like, Twitch doesn't hand out baby timeout bans for outright calls to violence unless they're protecting someone.
If we the last two people on Earth, who gonna stop me? You're not stopping me. If we the last two people on Earth, who gonna stop me?
Yeah. Come on.
One day. That is a day off. This isn't punishment. It's just PR. It's Twitch pretending to hold him accountable just so they can say, look, we took action while making sure he doesn't face real consequences. If anything, this ban proves that Hasan is above the rules. If a cop gives a celebrity a $5 speeding ticket while throwing the book at everyone else, it is performative enforcement. Hasan isn't getting the same treatment as everybody else. He is getting preferential treatment. And the fact that Twitch is pretending that this is fair enforcement makes it more obvious. And if you don't believe me, actually consider what does the ban even do? Like, it's not a financial hit. He'll make up for the lost revenue in his first stream back. As a matter of fact, it might even be better because people are like, they're wondering, well, what is he going to say after that one-day ban? Like, it builds sort of a tension. So it's certainly not financial. And it's also not even a reputational hit because his fans will spin it into like this narrative that he's been going off of for the longest time, which is the underdog narrative of like, oh, Twitch is cracking down on the left, which isn't even close to reality. You know, it's manufacturing fairness. That's all it is. Oh yeah, I don't even have to point to this hype for this first stream back after the ban. Like, you look at his YouTube, the I got canceled video is like 1 million views with like a weirdly decent like to dislike ratio. I mean, what is it at right now? It's like 120k to 20k. Like, the title of the video itself proves my point. Like, I got canceled. This is the narrative. It's the, oh, I got banned, I got canceled, Asmongold's popularer than me. It's literally everything I've been saying this entire video. I don't know. It's free content. The double standard is a complete joke. Like, at the end of the day, Hasan's one-day ban does not show that Twitch is fair. It proves the opposite. If he was a nobody streamer, he'd be gone. Actually, I don't know about that. Maybe because of his ideology, he'd still be there. But the point is, whatever, he's still here. If someone, you know, the Twitch didn't like, they'd get perma'd. And, yeah, I mean, it's just fake punishment. The most hilarious part about all of this is how both the Twitch mods and the fan base of Hasan behave the exact same way. Like, Hasan's fan base immediately runs cover and goes into defensive mode. And, you know, they do damage control like they're getting paid, except the Twitch mods are actually getting paid. They're not. And look, at the end of the day, Hasan is just one of the most insufferable people on the internet. And it's not just because of his hypocrisy, it's his entire personality. He doesn't have charisma, he has zero accountability, and he somehow has the biggest ego in streaming. And like, the worst part is, like, you look at the debates, like, no one seems to bring this up anymore, but he's not even a good debater. For a guy who's built his brand on owning the right, he crashes and burns the second he's brought up against someone who's not a complete idiot. If you're just some random chatter, he'll yell over you and ban you in 10 seconds, but the moment he's actually challenged, he stammers, he backpedals, he starts reading chat for help. He's like a high school kid who memorized some Twitter buzzwords, and he thinks that it makes him Socrates. His attitude, too. I mean, the arrogance is off the charts. Hasan believes he's the main character of the internet. He talks down to his viewers constantly, treats his fans like cattle, like they're beneath him, and he somehow still has the most cult-like following ever. You could present undeniable proof that Hasan is a fraud, and his fans would still be in chat, just like, oh, bro, you don't get it. Like, no, we do. We just have functioning brains. He's not funny. Every joke is him mocking someone's voice or making a soy face, laughing at his own terrible take. It's just the bare minimum level of entertainment. And considering all of this, if Twitch wasn't protecting him, he would just be another forgettable political streamer who rants into the void. Anyway, considering how he's been behaving recently, I wouldn't be surprised if this behavior is replicated in some way because of the amount account that it's benefited him. Like, he's been getting a lot of attention. There's a lot of people talking about him, and I know that I'm adding to that, but I don't think any of my audience who is watching this is gonna go and you know, let him benefit from this in any way. Unlike maybe some of the bigger channels, which it's not their fault. That's just kind of how it goes when you have a larger audience. But yeah, we'll see what happens, and if there's any more craziness, I'll maybe cover it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're at all new to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.